So I think there's two things. You have to start with a tough bit. That means more police on the road. It means giving them the technology to do stop and search properly. It means making sure they're trained properly. But on the other end, if you really want to stop knife crime, you have to look at the constructive communities. You have to get people back into work. So I'm working on a second chance fund. So young people who've been through the system, haven't done something particularly serious, we can get them back into education so they can come back and get into work. And when I say education, I mean the broadest sense of it, vocational training, GCSEs, the rest of it. But make sure that those young people are not on the revolver in and out of jail the whole time, because they just get deeper and deeper into the problem as well. The other thing in what I'd really like to do is do something around probation. Two reasons. When you educate people in jail, it brings it down, but also if you can help them out on the road to break some of the relationships they have, to keep going back to that relationship that keeps putting them into crime. But ultimately, and the first step is, we've got to make the streets of London safe. Currently it is not safe to be in London. I was with a group of young boys probably about 4 months ago, and one of them said something very profound to me. He said, I spend more time working on my safety than I do on my future. We have to turn that around. There is no one silver bullet that will solve knife crime, but there's a number of things we can do, and the first thing we need to do is get someone to take responsibility.
That's quite something to say, that it's not safe in London. You sound like Donald Trump.
2 years in a row, we've had a record level of murders in London, homicides. 2 years in a row, not once, not
That doesn't mean to say that it's not safe to be in London.
It does. A number of people feel like it isn't safe to be in London, and there's two things.
Well,
about crime.
That's different, though. You just said it is. That's different from feeling.
The effect is the same. And let me tell you something now. We've had a 39% rise in burglary, a 42% rise in knife crime. All of these things mean that it isn't safe. And if you're in some particular communities in London, it isn't safe, and people start to arm themselves.
But you are falling into Donald Trump's trap. He tries to make out that London isn't safe for Americans to go. You're actually backing him up there. That's a weird thing for a Conservative candidate to do. I know you're fighting Sadiq Khan, but you shouldn't be talking down your own city.
I've got nothing to do talking down my city. It's talking up the safety of Londoners. We've got to make this feeling safe. When people are saying to you they're more focused on their safety than their future, something has to be done about that. It has to be done. And remember, every time you hear of a knife crime, do you know the question I ask myself? How many other times was that knife used? What was it used for? Was it used to bully? Was it used to intimidate? I worry about these things because they change what it means to be a Londoner. No matter where you live in this town, if you ask someone, have they had a brush with crime, they'll tell you something about their children being robbed on the bus, or they've had a murder in their street. We've got to turn that around. London is only open when London is safe. This is the best place in the world, and it absolutely is.
Well, it clearly isn't if it isn't safe.
It clearly is, to my mind, the best place in the world. But the thing is, it needs to be significantly safer.
But you're arguing against yourself. How can you possibly say that London is the best place in the world, and on the other hand say, but it isn't safe?
Because we can turn it around. We've had spikes in crime before. The first and most important thing, we must not let this become our new norm. It must be battered down as hard as possible, because it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. If you feel unsafe, what does that do to your daily goings on? We can defeat this. That's why I say it's the best place in the world.